What's up, everybody? Welcome to the ATL Sports HQ live show, the show for the fans by the fans. This is episode number 17. I am Bob Lancaster. You can find me all over social media at Bowling Bob.
I'm Phil Beasley. You can find me on Twitter at _ ATL Phil.
I'm Derek Clemens. You can follow me on Twitter at Derek Clemens.
You can follow the site at atlsportshq.com and ATL Sports HQ on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. And also the show can be found on all major podcast sites, including iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, any major place. We are there for sure. Make sure that you rate us on iTunes or any of those sites that you use 5 stars. So we do this for you. So make sure you rate us 5 stars on that. And if you're interested in writing for the site, we still are actively recruiting. So just shoot over a message to Phil on Twitter at @_ATL Phil, or you at Bowling Bob for me as well, and we will get you started on that. But let's get rolling. We had an exciting week this week in the old round ball. A lot of stuff going on. So we'll start with that. NBA All-Star Weekend. Team LeBron beat Team Giannis 178-164. Kevin Durant, the MVP. The Rising Stars. Team USA defeats Team World 161-144. Kyle Kuzma was the MVP of that. Jason Tatum beat Trey on a miracle shot to win the skills challenge. The great Joe Harris wins the 3-point challenge. Everybody bet on him, I'm sure. He beat Steph to win that 3-point contest. And then Hamidou Diallo, he won the slam dunk contest. Phil, what was your favorite event of the weekend?
Honestly, it had to have been the Rising Star game. Trey was MVP, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion. Trey should have won MVP. Just dazzled with several amazing passes and amazing dribble work. And also, he was hitting his threes. And then John Collins with some amazing dunks. Better than the dunk contest, let's be honest. Some amazing dunks during the Rising Star game. It was just really great to see two Hawks franchise cornerstones show off on the big stage like that. You know, other than the opening night game against Dallas, that is the only time all eyes were on Atlanta. And well, with that ESPN game earlier in the year, that was a Wednesday night, so 10, 12 of the games were going on. All the eyes were on Trae Young and John Collins Friday, and they did not disappoint.
What was your favorite event of the weekend, Derek?
Yeah, I'm at the Griffith. The Rising Stars Challenge was the most interesting thing to watch. And, we got to see Trae Young show off his talent, and the world did get to see it. He was trending on Twitter that night and Saturday night, too, for his impressive stuff in the skills challenge. But it was fun to watch just all the young guys play together and battle it out, the scoring session, no defense being played. Seeing some good dunks that John Collins put on the show, and, it was fun to watch Kyle Kuzma and Tatum go at it for the world team or the USA team. But it was just a fun event. I think, this was one of the most enjoyable, if not the only enjoyable one.
Seemed like one of the best rosters too. As far as Team USA for the Rising Stars, one of the best rosters I've ever seen put together. It just seemed like there was just a lot of talent on the floor as far as rookies and sophomores. So, but it ended up being a really good matchup. But my favorite for the weekend was actually the skills challenge. I really, really enjoyed watching Trey whoop on Luka. So that was kind of cool. You could tell that Trey really, really wanted to win it. He seemed like he did a lot of extra effort by lobbing the ball to race ahead and stuff. So, I really, really enjoyed that. It was just kind of sucked that Jason Tatum lobbed up that half quarter to win it. So, but that was definitely my favorite event. But Phil, what was your least favorite?
My least favorite was.
You're good, buddy. We can hear you. You're the only one froze.
We're gonna keep on pushing. My least favorite was the dunk contest because my boy.
Oh, he gone. All right, Derek. Well, we'll just press ahead for him right now. I don't know what the heck happened, but what was your least favorite event?
I would have to say my least favorite event was definitely the dunk contest. I mean, it was just very boring. I mean, the only person, Diallo, the one who won, he had obviously the best dunk with the one when he jumped over Shaq. But I mean, the rest of them guys were missing dunks. Collins wasn't really impressive, and it just wasn't a unique dunk show. And I mean, it was pretty much a waste of my time. Really, I thought it wasn't fun or enjoyable to watch.
All right, I'll log out about this dunk contest being horrible while you try and get Phil back in this chat. But the dunk contest was absolutely terrible. I 100% agree with you, and I'm sure that's where Phil was going as well. The lack of creativity this year really kind of did it for me. But I mean, really the airplane thing was kind of creative, but when he tripped over the airplane, took out the wing, it kind of took all the fun out of that. But what kind of sucked was that John Collins' first dunk was actually pretty dang cool, but didn't get any respect from anyone because looking at it in fast motion, it really just kind of looked like a normal dunk. But I don't think people realize how putting your hand behind the backboard and then dunking the ball through, how difficult that is, Doug in our chat, he said that was one of the worst all-time dunk contests that I've ever seen. I 100% agree with you. Phil, I'm guessing that you were going to say the dunk contest before you were so rudely kicked out.
Yeah, my computer doesn't like me anymore. I guess that's what happens when it's almost as old as me. But I feel like there should be some kind of change in the system. Like, a point for every attempt you miss or something, or maybe a like 1 minute time limit or something. It just wasn't fair for John Collins to complete his dunks on the first try, and then it'd take like Dennis Smith 15 tries to.
Yeah, I think Dennis Smith might have broke the dunk contest record for most attempts within like a 4 dunk period where he doesn't make it. Yeah, I don't understand that as well. But there was that call for the dunk contest to go away for a while a few years ago, and then you had it seemed like 2 dunk contests in a row that were electric and kind of brought back everything. But this just really, really disappointed me. So, what was that, Phil?
The crowd was part of that. John Collins was trying to hype them up. They just were dead.
Crowd was dead. I 100% agree with you. That, to me, that's what makes the dunk contest too. When the crowd's into it, and it could make a normal dunk look just really, really cool. So, but yeah, I mean, I agree with Derek that the best dunk was definitely the dunk over Shaq. But I was like, whoever the guy after that should have dunked over Wee Man. That would have been awesome. Like, look what I can do, man. You can dunk over Shaq, but I can dunk over Wee Man. But one thing we kind of talked about, as you guys both touched on, and we'll kind of go back on it, but how good did John Collins and Trey look in that Rising Stars game, Derek?
Yeah, I mean, it was fun to watch them two go to work. I mean, Trey Young, he just took over. He was going for that MVP, and he should have got it, but unfortunately didn't because of the ball hogging that was taking place. But it was good to see them actually get a chance to play together also and show what they've been doing all season for the Hawks. I mean, alley-oop on the 360 dunk from Collins. I mean, one of the best dunks of the week and during the game. So, I mean, it was just good to see them both get the little spotlight put on them that they don't really receive in the regular season with the Hawks. So, I mean, it was good to see that.
What did you think, Phil?
Yeah, that was just a taste of what's to come. And we'll be seeing them on Sunday night very, very soon. I have a sneaky suspicion. Maybe not next year, but hopefully by the year after. We'll see at least Trey or at least John in the big game. It depends how many games we win.
What thing I liked the most about it was that it got people talking about the Atlanta Hawks and those 2 players. Again, trending on Twitter at different points in the night, both of them were. And so that's huge for the city of Atlanta and the Atlanta Hawks. Again, you were able to put that kind of performance on in front of future free agents, right. Which is great to see. They get a chance to see those 2 in action and maybe get it through their mind that, hey, these 2 may be, someone that we could hook up with later on down the line. So, But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Was really happy with how everything went in that, and the Rising Stars, again for the city of Atlanta. So we will oh, there's Derek, he's back. We're just having that technical difficulty all going around today, let me tell you. I think we're gonna have Phil cue the stuff. Try not to freeze yourself again. But Steph Curry in the All-Star game did a bounce lob to Giannis. Phil, did you think that was the best alley-oop pass of all time? We're gonna put it on the ATL Sports HQ Twitter so that you guys, if you haven't seen this bounce lob pass, it was spectacular.
It was definitely the best one I've ever seen. I'm not that old, so I haven't been watching that many years of basketball. I think I've been watching faithfully since like 2004. But that was definitely one of the best plays overall, non-like game winner or non-like playoffs or anything like that I have ever seen. That was just truly magical. You couldn't, like, you saw it coming, but like you couldn't believe it. That's how insane it was.
It's one thing to do that, passing the ball straight out of your hand, but to bounce it off the floor and with precision enough to make it into just like a regular alley-oop.
Giannis to get that high.
Yeah, you gotta figure what's the height of Giannis? What's Giannis, about 6? Is he 7?
I don't think he's 7. He's like, he's close. He's close.
Yeah, and he put that exactly into his hands. What did you think about that dunk, Derek?
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. I mean, especially the slowed down version that I seen on Twitter. I don't know who made it, but it was good to like see the different angle, and I mean, it just made it look even more amazing than it was.
Yeah, the best like alley-oop dunks I've seen, in my time, obviously being a huge Sonics fan, was Peyton DeKemp. But that was awesome. It was probably the best alley-oop dunk I've ever seen. Again, to have it, if you'd have just lobbed it up, that's one thing. But to bounce it off the floor with perfect like that is something that only Steph Curry can do. I tell you, he is just an unbelievable ball handler. So,
how about Steph Curry's dunk at the end of the game? That's pretty.
Yeah. There was a little bit of everything going on in that game, which was kind of nice. So, but let's move on to the Atlanta Hawks. They start the second half of the year tomorrow at home against the Detroit Pistons. Phil, what are your personal expectations for the Hawks this second half?
Win-loss wise, I don't really have any expectations. I really, I'm gonna put wins and losses aside. I just want to see continued development. And I want to see a little bit of improvement on defense. A little more consistency shooting-wise would be nice, especially from like Trae Young. But other than that, I just want to see the guys continue to grow and mesh. I want to see Coach Pierce keep these guys fighting through the end because, we're coming up on where we'll be eliminated from the playoffs soon. So, you got to keep the guys' spirits up. It's going to be real interesting. We have a lot of home games coming up. So, while our record isn't really better at home than on the road, it's more comfortable for the young guys. It's more comfortable for the team. You want to see that continued development and some things to really be excited for heading into the offseason. And also, I want to see how Taurean Prince closes out this season. He hasn't had a good season by any stretch of the imagination. So let's see if he can, recapture some of that magic he had at the end of last season.
Yeah, Derek, what are your personal expectations for the Hawks in the second half?
Unfortunately, I do think that the winning will die down. I think we're going to lose a lot more in the second half, and I just think that's just because of how things are supposed to go. I mean, we've seen some ups, but I mean, I just think it's starting to go a little bit more downhill. But I do expect Trae Young to actually play more consistent basketball in the second half. I mean, he's starting to get comfortable, and you can tell, and you've seen it. I mean, he's shown it throughout the season, but I think it's time when he's going to start playing consistently good on a day-to-day basis.
I agree with the both of you on everything that you guys have said, but one thing I want to add for myself is that what I want to see is them not have that one quarter where they get blown out. I don't mind them losing, to be honest, But it's just I hate when we lose because we killed them 3 quarters, but we lost 1 quarter by 20 points or more. So that's my personal expectation, which kind of fits into Phil's with defense. So I do want to see a better defensive effort as far as, again, not giving up that one bad, 1 or 2 bad quarters, but just keeping it close, all game long. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. But I like Phil. I think that they are, close to being taken out of the race. Our boy Ryan, who filled in really good for me last week, he'll be sad to hear that they're just not going to make the playoffs this year. So, but let's kind of move on from that now. So, we didn't have any games this week, so really nothing to game wise to talk about. We'll have lots to talk about on that, on that front next week. So
we can talk about the loss to the Knicks last week. Now,
what that?
So we can talk about the loss to the Knicks last week.
No, we don't like to talk about losing to the Knicks in here, though. I mean, how can we lose to a team that lost 17 in a row and then all of a sudden they look like, championship contenders against us? So I think that's pretty much all to talk about. In something that can only happen in Georgia sports, and this is probably the only time you'll hear us talking about Georgia Bulldogs basketball, by the way. The Georgia Bulldogs lost to Mississippi State last night, 68-67, when a technical foul was called on UGA for a fan throwing a stuffed bulldog on the court. Should we be excited that the mainstream media cares enough about Georgia to cover this story, Derek?
I mean, national media always picks up every time Georgia messes up, and this might be one of the worst things that's happened to them. And that's saying a lot because a lot of bad things have happened. But, I mean, it was just terrible. I wasn't watching the game. I mean, who actually watches a lot of Georgia basketball, especially this season? I mean, they've been terrible. They're like 1-12 in the SEC. But, I mean, it was just embarrassing to see. And then to go over all national media, all over Twitter and stuff. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
What do you think about this one, Phil?
But I just thought, what a ridiculous rule. So you mean to tell me I can go to Georgia Tech game with let's say they're playing like Duke or something. I can go with a little Duke thing and throw it on the court and Duke will get a technical foul? What a ridiculous rule. What do the fans have to do with the game? I've never heard of anything like that. I wish they would try something like that in the NBA. People would riot. But, that is capital Georgia sports right there. What a funny way to lose.
Yeah, I thought, boy, if this was gonna be a way that an Atlanta sports team or Georgia sports team, I'm sorry, would lose, this would probably be right up there. I mean, I can't recall ever having a stuffed animal cost a game. So yeah, this is a new one for me as a sports fan. So but one thing, we're kind of jumping to this next question regarding this that you just kind of touched on, Phil. But Tom Crean says a warning should have been given, not a technical. Did the refs blow this one out of proportion, Phil?
Yeah, like I don't know the actual rules about it, but that seems like a very, very harsh thing to do in that situation. I can understand. Okay, second quarter, whatever.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the game deciding thing. It was 0.5 seconds left.
0.5 seconds, yeah, enough that you really couldn't even get another shot.
Yeah, that was the game. So there's nothing that crazy, and who knows? Like, it might not have even been intentional per se. You know what I mean? It could have been holding it. It was game-winning free throws on the line. So I'm sure they were like jumping and making noise and stuff, and someone might have hit it out of his hand. There's no way you can do that. That's ridiculous. They need to change that.
Derek, you think this one was blown out of proportion?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Phil. I mean, I don't understand how they're even able to do that. I mean, I don't see the correlation from the fans to the team. I mean, how can a fan affect what the team does? And I don't understand. I mean, I've never seen it happen. I don't know the rule. I don't understand it, but it didn't make sense how they could let a fan determine the outcome of a game.
Yeah, my thing with that is, it's pretty easy to. I've seen a lot of games where stuff has been thrown on the court, coins, stuff like that. That's a normal thing in a Duke North Carolina game. Things are tossed out. But that was one of those things where it's like, hey, get that fan out of there. If that's the case, eject the fan. But yeah, I didn't understand why you're giving a technical on that one. Again, most of the time they'll tell the coach to get on the loudspeaker and tell him to knock it off and stuff like that. But yeah, I didn't understand, especially like you said, with where the time of the game it was. It just didn't make any sense at all. I mean, but then again, the rest sometimes just kind of want to call their own game and be the star of the game. So, but. Yeah, this was interesting. I just never thought this is the way we'd be talking about Georgia Bulldogs basketball on this show. So I definitely had to throw that in. But finally, we'll end off on Zion Williamson last night. In the game against North Carolina, he made a cut and blew out his sneakers. Phil, you going to put this one up on the ATL Sports HQ Twitter as well?
Hopefully it uploads faster than the last one. One.
Unbelievable. He sprained his knee in the process. If you are Zion Williams handlers, are you letting him step foot on the court at any point again this year, Derek?
I mean, if I was, no, I wouldn't. I don't advise that he does. I mean, he has nothing else to prove. He already showed his ability and talent will transfer into the higher level. So he has nothing else to prove. And I mean, he doesn't owe Duke anything. And I mean, when I first seen that spill that he took, I mean, it looked worse than it actually was. So he's lucky that it wasn't as bad as it looked to be. But I mean, it's really up to him.
How did it not get his ankle?
Yeah, I don't understand how he didn't get more hurt. I mean, that just shows how strong he is, really. And I mean, him ripping through the shoe shows how strong he is, the force that he has. But I mean, him from his standpoint, it's going to be his decision. I mean, he might have the pride where he wants to win something for Duke, but really in reality, he doesn't owe anything to that school or to the NCAA. And I mean, he should just do the best thing for his future.
Phil, are you letting him go back on the court at all?
Hey, if I was in his ear, I'd be like, hey, man, sit. But you got to understand, he's probably an insane competitor. He has that fire in him. He wants to play basketball. He's a young kid. He probably wants to be out there. So he's going to be out there the very next game that he's healthy. Who I feel bad for is the people that shelled out $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 for that game last night, mainly to see him. And he goes down in the first minute.
There was a star-studded event last night. It looked like a Lakers NBA game out there. I mean, you had Obama out there. Yeah,
it was the second highest price game, average tickets wise. It was over $2,000. Only the Super Bowl had it beat.
Yeah, it was. It was interesting ticket to get. That was for sure. Like I said, you turned on the TV and it was like watching an old school Lakers game.
If he doesn't play another game, he'll be the number one pick. If he's out, if he tore his ACL and was probably going to miss all of next season, he'd be the number one pick. If he leads Duke to a championship, he'll be the number one pick. So, all in all, really, if he wants to sit, nobody should have a problem with that. It's not really quitting on his team. Sometimes his team ain't going to make him $200 million when he gets a max contract in 4 years.
But see, this is where I disagree with you. Had he blown out his knee or had he tore an Achilles or something in his ankle, I don't think he would have been the number one draft pick. You got to realize there's two guys on his own team that could have walked in and taken that number one draft slot away from him. And for that reason, I would never let him see the floor again. If I was his family, if I was his cousin, if I was his baby mama, there would not be on the court whatsoever playing another game for Duke because maybe his baby mama. Come on now. But yeah, I just wouldn't let him out there. I mean, again, he has nothing else to prove. He's the number one pick. right at this moment. Again, if he doesn't play another game and is healthy, he's the #1 pick in the draft. And so it just goes to show you, though, how one scary moment like that could change a college season like that. I mean, again, would we look down? Would we look down on him if he isn't to play another game? Absolutely not. I mean, he's got to protect his own investments. So what I did find out, though, before the show was that he is insured for protected for the #1 draft picks. So that's good that he's got some insurance on him if he would have went further down the draft. Most premier college athletes out there are getting that insurance to protect them from Lloyd's of London. So smart on him, but that's going to be an interesting story to watch for the next couple weeks to see if he actually is going to come back on the court. But like you said, he's a competitor. So it's, he may just want to come back out there.
And he's listed day to day, so it wasn't too serious. It was like a minor grade.
But speaking of the shoes, now Nike had a pretty rough day on the stock market today. They were down quite a bit, but how concerned and embarrassed should Nike be about a shoe of that hype and price point blowing up on national TV, Derek?
I mean, it's Nike, so they shouldn't be concerned, but they are probably embarrassed. I mean, other shoe brands, I mean, they were giving them the business on social media. Puma even put out a tweet. I forget exactly what they said. They later deleted it, though. But, I mean, on his part, he should be wearing some shoes that are built. I mean, he should be wearing some LeBrons. I mean, a shoe that's built to work for someone of that weight class. I mean, instead of Paul George's that he was wearing last night.
He about to switch over to them Kawhi Leonard New Balances here next week. So, you think this one was embarrassing, and for what type of shoe he was wearing?
Yeah, it was embarrassing, but they'll be okay. Freaky stuff happens, and then when you're that big and you play with that much force, this stuff is going to happen sometimes. It was just a real unfortunate break, once in a lifetime kind of thing. It won't happen again. And I don't think the shoe was the reason for the injury. I just think it was just a freak accident, and Nike will be okay. They have plenty of billions of dollars to spare.
Yeah. One thing I was going to say, too, is that, they have some of the best research people in the sneaker game. And I guarantee you that shoe was picked right up off the floor, shipped to overnight to Portland, Oregon. And they're sitting there inspecting that shoe to make sure that absolutely 100% never happens again on live TV ever. So, like I said, they have the best shoe guys in the game. So
I've seen a report that it said that Paul George contacted like the upper and was asking like what happened and stuff, like the exact details of how it actually happened.
Yeah, the good thing about it is that it did happen. So now we know that Nike isn't exempt from having a shoe happen like that, and so the next wave of shoes that come out may have a little bit more protection on that, that side where the blowout happened for higher, I guess high power athletes, such as Zion. He's just a big dude, so, but it was just weird to see happen. I never thought that was something I'd ever see. So, but, time to move on though. Let's kind of get into this, the new AAF football league. We haven't really covered that much. So, we'll jump into it now. The Legends were beat again, this time 24-12 by the San Diego Fleet. Matt Sims is clearly not getting it done. At what point do the Legends have to save face and put in Aaron Murray, even if it's just to sell tickets, Phil?
Yeah, at this rate, in this town, this ain't going to work. They got to do something. They got to put Murray in there. How much worse can he do? We've been outscored, let's see, 64 to 18 so far. So how much worse could he be? I think the fans here in Georgia rather see Aaron Murray struggle than Sims.
What do you think, Derek?
Yeah, I mean, they do need to change it up, and a bigger name could bring a bigger audience. I mean, Georgia fans might end up watching that because of him being a former athlete there. So, I mean, they definitely need to do something. I mean, it's looking bad early. I mean, it's still early, of course, but there does need to be a change to bring more people.
How many fans do you think will be at Georgia State Stadium Sunday, Bob?
What's that?
How many fans do you think will be at Georgia State Stadium?
Ooh, not very many. I guess like I don't know. It's really hard to tell. This could be considered a rivalry game within the AAF because we are playing Birmingham. So, but man, we can't even get the Falcons fans to show up on time. I'm gonna say under 2,500.
Under 2,500? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't see it here. You know, I don't know why, but I'd love to be wrong, but I don't know. Some people really like to do anything when it comes to sports, you know, so they will show up for just about anything. My wife says 50, so you know. Lex says hard to sell tickets when you're 0-2 already, and I agree with that as well. But my thing is, you know, again, you need to have Aaron Murray to sell those tickets. It's a name that Atlanta and Georgia sports fans know, recognize. And to me, you know, that's what you got to do in your inaugural season if you're the owner of this team to get butts in the seat. I would not be shocked if he does start this game on Sunday, because him and Sims were very similar in workouts. From what I understand, it wasn't like Sims ran away with it, but he's definitely done nothing to prove that he needs to be the starter here. But yeah, I definitely agree. We're going to see Aaron Murray sooner rather than later. But one interesting thing about the AAF that's happened this week is AAF missed payroll on Monday. Not a good start. And they were immediately sold to the NHL's Carolina Hurricanes owner, Tom Dundon, for like $250 million or something like that. So it was quite a bit of money. How concerning is it that the AAF has already needed to secure funding and be bailed out to meet payroll after 2 weeks, Derek?
I mean, yeah, this is very concerning, especially this early. I mean, it just started. And I think it's concerning going forward. And I mean, you can see the hype has kind of died down even just after the first week. There wasn't a lot of hype around the games this week. So, I mean, it's concerning for a league like this because you don't want to get down and get below. You want to try to stay up so you can stay level. But it's just very concerning for them.
Phil, what do you think about this, man? Are you concerned?
Yeah, that's not good. They claim it was just a glitch in the system that caused the payroll thing. But come on now, you think we're stupid? You got sold 5 minutes after that. Yeah, them checks wasn't clearing. I mean, you never want to see a business fail. So I mean, you'd like to see them do good, but I don't see it. I don't see it.
There was a lot of big reporters on Twitter that I follow, and when I was watching this story, and a lot of reporters have said that they are being lied to a lot when it comes to the running of this league. And so that's concerning to me. I mean, because it seems like you'd be wanting to really get with these reporters to get the hype up. But one thing you got to worry about, you can't screw this up because you have the XFL coming next year again, where Vince McMahon sold off $500 million of stocks of his own money. So he has the funding, you know, to do this, you know, and so and he's not going to do the circus football that he did before. It's going to be ran like, you know, the AAF. So, you know, eventually the NFL is going to have to choose between these two as far as they want to make it like the minor league of football. And they're trying really, really hard to get behind the AAF because I'm sure they want nothing to do with Vince McMahon and football. So, but that it's going to be interesting. If you're missing payroll and you're already having to sell off to a guy that has no football experience, you know, just doing hockey. And what's funny yet is I follow hockey, quite a bit, and Carolina Hurricanes are one of those teams that is not known for their spending. So, they're wanting to know how come this owner's not putting $250 million into the Carolina Hurricanes.
Move them back to Hartford. Shout out Hartford.
Gotta love them Whalers, huh? But that's enough of that talk because, the AAF kind of sucks right now. Maybe when Atlanta wins that championship, we'll get excited about AAF, but we'll keep you all updated on that, on how we do. Maybe we'll beat Birmingham this week and have something good to talk about next week. So, but let's get into something that we know involves winning. Atlanta United. Phil, talk about tonight's CCL matchup between the United and, you're going to go ahead and pronounce this their team's name for me because I'm not butchering this.
Should be like Hernandino.
Hernandino, there we go. That's what I was going to go with. So I think we're close. So just give us like a brief, I guess, intro to this matchup.
Yeah, so believe it or not, Atlanta United is back tonight at 10 o'clock. You can catch it on Yahoo Sports online, or you can watch it in Spanish on Univision. But yeah, we're taking on Hernandino in the round of 16 in the CCL, which is the CONCACAF Champions League. And it's Herediano. Yeah, I'm still wrong, so I'm not even going to try to get
Lex got us. He got us in chat. He's here for us.
So it looks like we're going with the 3-4-3. We got Martinez, and Barco up front. And shout out to 16-year-old Douglasville native George Bello. He's getting the nod tonight. So Vialbo is one of the main ones, and Nagby off the bench tonight in the 18. Nagby, apparently, he finally came out to the media and said he's happy. He's not requesting a trade and said it was just personal things going on. I don't know how much I buy that. I think the team might have just told him, look, we're not trading you. So suck it up. But obviously it's going to take him a while to get back into first team game shape because he's been practicing with the second team. So obviously he's not getting the starting nod tonight. Hopefully we'll see him in the second half because we got a lot of games coming up. Next Thursday, we're back at home at Kennesaw in leg 2. Excuse me. And then that coming Sunday, MLS season starts. Now, new head coach Frank DiBiore said that we're probably going to stagger these lineups a little bit while we're in CCL because CCL could go on for a while if we go as far as we think we can go. Now, no MLS team has ever won CONCACAF. Toronto came very, very close last year, losing in the final. But we feel like we have a very good chance. We are obviously we have like the most talent in MLS history. So we can go toe-to-toe with these Central and South American teams and even the Mexico team. So definitely make sure you're on the lookout for that and get ready to support Atlanta United as MLS season starts.
Someone was echoing there. I got lost. Do you, this week kind of seems like Nagby said that, everything is okay and he seems to be happy. Do you think this drama is 100% squash finally?
We'll see how it looks if he continues to not be in the starting 11. We'll see how long it takes for some more rumors to come out. And we'll see if the truth comes out because I'm not buying that it was just a personal matter. But if it was just a personal matter, I hope all is well with him and his family. He has some young kids, so hopefully everything is okay back home.
Lex says he doesn't entirely buy Nagby's story, but he's an important piece, and we don't have a lot of guys that can play his role. Right. And I agree with him. I'll believe it when he's coming back and joining us. So I'll believe anything he wants to say because we do really need him here.
Coach said he could play some minutes off the bench tonight, so we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's something we'll definitely have to keep up on, and then hopefully they'll do well tonight and be able to come back to Kennesaw and finish things up here and move on. This would be a big win.
If we could come back with a draw tonight, that would be very good.
I agree. For those that don't really follow, soccer and stuff like that, it works just like the MLS Cup except for finals, where what you're kind of hoping for is obviously to win or draw at your opponent's field, so that when we come back home, really we're not we're behind the curve on aggregate goals, so it's huge.
They're doing away with that for this year's playoffs. It's just highest seed hosts.
Yeah, so but it's just been previous MLS Cup playoffs, except for the actual cup. So
CCL, it's like that.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be good. I really, really hope for the best, because it would be really, really cool to see them win the CCL and bring another trophy back here. It would definitely solidify them not only here but internationally as a respected team. So, and that's huge to be internationally respected as an MLS team. That would be huge for the city of Atlanta. So, but let's move on to the Braves. The Braves started spring training this week, but one player is not quite ready for full participation yet. Dansby Swanson still recovering from wrist surgery. With Johan Camargo on this team, is there any rush on bringing Dansby back, Derek? Yo, Derek.
Well, looks like you can't hear us, but I would let Dansby take as much time as he wants. We have other players that can fill his role, and just let him get healthy. He's young. We have some good depth, so let him get healthy.
Yeah, Derek, did you catch the question at all?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, buddy. Can you hear us? All right, well, then I'll just throw in the answer here. I agree with you, Phil. Johan Camargo will definitely be fill-in. This is what his role will be as the super utility guy. And so I believe that you let Dansby, especially with a wrist injury, you can't afford to rush a guy back, because we saw what happened to Dansby last year when he had the wrist injury. So he never was completely completely healthy and ready to go. So this is good. Let him recover. Don't rush it back. And when he's 100%, then you let him come back into the lineup, and then just hope that Johan Camargo didn't take his spot. So, but what are your thoughts, Bill? Speaking of the role of baseball, what are your thoughts on Manny Machado's 10-year, $300 million contract?
Yeah, it was shocking, and he's a great player, but he does have those, there are questions around him that you wouldn't expect for someone who just got $300 million. Questions about the effort and intensity sometimes, especially when he was in Baltimore, and even at times in LA. There's some fans that question like his heart. So, those aren't questions you want to be hearing when you're talking about giving someone $300 million over the course of 10 years. But, I hope it all works out. San Diego has a young and upcoming team. They're really kind of similar to the Braves in structure, where they've had a really strong farm system. So this can obviously put them over the top, or at least a great deal towards the top. So we'll see what happens.
Derek, you back?
I think so.
You are, man. I can hear you now. You're good. Hey, what are your thoughts on Manny Machado's 10-year, $300 million contract?
Oh, that was crazy when I seen that. I mean, that's not normal. 10 years? Is that normal for MLB?
No, that's it'll be the highest contract ever given out in MLB, which will last about a week until Bryce Harper gets something bigger. But right now it's sitting at the top.
That's ridiculous. I mean, 10 years, I think, what would he be, 36 years old when it's over?
Yeah.
I mean, he's set for life after this contract. And, I mean, what's the big deal? I mean, the Padres aren't a good team right now. I don't believe so. But that don't matter when you have that $300 million at the end of the check.
What's crazy is about this whole thing is that Manny Machado got a 5-year opt out. So after 5 years, he could choose to opt out of this. He has a limited trade where he can't be traded, to some teams, but it was like 10 teams, I think, on the list. this is a great move by the Padres. This year, you aren't going to see it as much. I still have them second. You know, I think Colorado does have a little bit better squad than them in the NL West, but in the future coming up, they're building themselves to become a dynasty. What's scary yet is this didn't even put a dent in how much money they could spend. They could very easily land Bryce Harper as well. Bryce Harper, from what have been hearing and reading from different people, is that Bryce Harper really does not want to go to Philly. And so what he's doing is he's gone back to San Diego, trying to get San Diego to match what Philly's willing to offer him. And so he has shown interest in going to San Diego as well. They could also land Craig Kimbrell. They could land Dallas Keuchel. That team is coming up. They have a potential lineup of trying to think what their name is, but number 4 would be Fernando Tatis Jr., who's one of their biggest prospects. And then they got Will Myers. Now they have Manny Machado. You put Bryce Harper in a lineup like that, and that team could be devastating. And then I think they had 14 of the top 150 prospects in baseball. That's a huge number. I mean, even the Braves only put in 10. So this was a good deal for him, about what was expected at the beginning of free agency that he was projected to get, which was in the $300 million. It came right in at 10 years, $300 million. So good deal for the Padres. What you got to do when you're a rebuilding team, you look at how the Astros did it and to win themselves a World Series. And this is exactly how they did it, so something to definitely watch out for. And Lex saves us again. It was Eric Hosmer was the name I was thinking of. And so you have Eric Hosmer batting 3rd, Fernando Tatis Jr. 4th, and then Manny Machado 5th, or 2, 3, 4 in that order. And they are going to be a pretty spectacular team in here coming up. I'm going to guess that they'll be a division champion by 2020, I'm guessing. So but let's go to a new segment to end. Normally we do buy or sell here, but we're going to jump into the ATL Sports HQ live mailbag. So what we did is we had people throw us some questions on Twitter, and then we'll individually answer these questions. First one comes from @LabWars, LABWRS. She wants to know if I have heard any Kimbrell news and what my overall feelings for the year ahead are. The last I've heard from sources is that the Braves are trying to get creative to get Craig Kimbrell here. 1 year for a lot of money. He's projected in free agency to land $17 million. If he's taking a 1-year contract from the Braves, you're going to be looking at 20 plus, I'm guessing. It was what it would take to get him to give up his one, to go back into free agency next year. What could be interesting, though, is if the Braves could give him the 1 year, and then if they like what they see after that 1 year, he proves that his velocity isn't still declining. They could realistically work out a contract extension with him mid-year and keep him around for a multi-year contract. I'm not sure what AA is kind of hold up with Kimbrell, but his velocity and numbers did decline. He's not that young anymore. So, it's hard to give a multi-year contract to a guy that'll be, later in his 30s. So, I would be surprised if they go past a year with him, from what I understand. But my overall feelings for the year ahead is, I'm excited. I don't buy the hype to where we had to have a free agents coming in here. I thought Josh Donaldson was a huge get for this team. And so I was really excited about that deal. I'm also excited about Brian McCann coming back to this team, just for the sense of he's a really good guy to work with the young pitchers. And so I was really glad that he came back. You got to figure we're looking at a projected lineup of, Ronald Acuna at leadoff, Josh Donaldson batting second, Freddie Freeman at third, I'd like to see someone other than Nick Markakis batting in the 4th slot, but that, I want Ozzy Albies to really come up and take that spot. But at the beginning of the year, it's probably just not happening that way. So you are looking at Markakis in the 4th spot. So, but yeah, I really am excited for this team. You got to figure going into spring training, really all there is to work out is pitching staff and bullpen. And you've got so much young talent pitching wise that these guys that aren't making the starting rotation this year are going to end up, some are going to end up in the bullpen. Some are obviously going to go back to AAA. So, but I'm really excited. And if we don't get Craig Kimbrell, AJ Mentor I call him the Craig Kimbrell clone. He's a hard throwing pitcher with a nasty slider. Saved a bunch of games for us last year before he had a back injury that kind of derailed him a little bit. I would be perfectly happy if he was our closer for the year. So yeah, so those are my thoughts, for the Braves, and thanks for your question. We really do appreciate it. Our next question is from Corey at ATL_sports for life. Phil, he wants to know, will Peter Martinez fill in for Miguel Almiron and make that smooth transition?
Their games are kind of different, but I think as far as the team being able to sustain success, I think Pity will keep us on that level. I think we'll be, of course, one of the best teams in MLS this year. It depends how much CCL slows us down out at the gate. I don't think we'll have 69 points again, but we will still have a very nice season. I think we'll be like the number 1 or 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. And I believe we have a great chance to go back to back. Pity Martinez, he's not just another player. This man was the South American Player of the Year last year. There's some pretty good talent in South America. So this is a very good player. So it's going to take some time. I think it's going to take some time for this team to gel. You got a new coach, you got Miggy gone, you got this new star player. He has to learn how to play with Joseph. They have to figure out their games, and then you got to integrate Barco or Villalba into the starting lineup. So it's going to be a lot of work, but I'm really excited what Pity can bring to the table, and he looked very good in preseason.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Again, when you're the South American Player of the Year, that tells you something. So there's a lot of good talent down there. So, obviously, we're all gonna miss Miggy. He was such an integral part of last year's success. So, but yeah, I don't. I think it will be a smooth transition as well. But our last question is from Brett at Brett_A27. Derek, he says, outside of Zion, who is the best fit for the Hawks in this year's draft?
For the Hawks, I would say the best available, if it's not Zion, is Zion's teammate Cameron Reddish. I feel like that he is the most pure, talented player on that team, going off of pure skill, and I think he will transfer the best to the NBA. I think his skill set, because he's a high volume shooter that can get hot and can knock down shots from anywhere on the court, off the dribble or from the catch. And he's very long, so he can obviously be a help in the defensive strategy. And then he can also handle the ball on his own. And I think he would fit well next to Trae Young and play well off the ball, and also sometimes take care of the ball for him. So I think, the Hawks are looking for another guy that can be a shooter at a top tier like Reddish can be. So I think he would be a great fit for the Hawks.
Do you think that RJ Barrett is underrated in the sense too that, because I kind of think he would be a decent fit for this team as well.
The thing for me, in my opinion, RJ Barrett's a great player, but I just don't think he fits with the Hawks. I think it's sort of kind of like the Taurean Prince effect kind of thing, because when Torian's on the court, he kind of stops the ball movement and has to score off of his isolation or something like that. And it's like he doesn't look to give it to the extra guy and stuff. I think RJ would fit better like at a team like the Knicks or something. And I think RJ's mediocre shot will hold him back in the NBA.
Yeah, I agree with you. My Cam Reddish was definitely would be my pick if Zion, if we happen to get number 2, I'd be okay. So, but yeah, one thing about this mailbag is we kind of like to do this every once in a while. So if you got any questions, feel free to ask us. You can tweet at ATL Sports HQ and ask us anything, when it comes to sports related, and we'll answer. It doesn't necessarily have to be Atlanta sports. I'm sure my dad's wants to ask me Ichiro questions, like he's asking me in the YouTube chat. He wants to know how come the Mariners are spending 40 or spending money on a 45-year-old Ichiro, and I think everybody in baseball is asking that question. It's kind of related to the fact that they're starting the season in Japan, I'm sure. So, but Phil, who are you shouting out this week?
Definitely. Shout out everybody listening, everybody in the chat supporting. We appreciate y'all. Shout out all the writers, and come write for us. We're looking for more writers. Come contribute. Come run our social media. Come do whatever you think would help us. We're always looking for new ideas. If you have an idea, something you'd like to see us do, a new show, a new kind of anything that has to do with like Atlanta sports. If there's something, we do this for y'all. So let us know.
Derek, you shout out, buddy.
Yeah, shout out everybody that continues to watch. We appreciate the support and hope you continue to support.
I agree. Shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys make it fun for us to, look and see what you guys think about these topics as we talk along, with them. So, really quick, I just want to do a real quick shout out to Boston Globe baseball writer Nick Cafardo. He's been a big part of me wanting to write about baseball and stuff. He passed away today. He's 62 years old. He co-wrote a book with Tom Glavine. But I just want to give him a quick shout out. He had a embolism at spring training today. It was a tragic death, a huge loss for the Boston Globe. So just wanted to give him a quick shout out as well. So thanks for listening to the ATL Sports HQ live podcast, and we will see you all next week.